practice is huge for development because, like, you got to do it in practice before you can do it in a game. And that's where you get your confidence from, you know what I mean? And if you see yourself doing it, you continue to grow with confidence and everything. But, I mean, I think, like, toward the summer, that spring, the end of that spring after my freshman year, so my first spring there is when I kind of knew I was like, okay, I'm getting better, you know what I mean? Because I kind of got moved up with the twos and I was doing some good things, but it wasn't where I wanted to be at all. But I could feel myself, like, getting stronger, getting better, understanding it better. Like, coming from the triple options, so different. Just not – there's a lot of pass protection.
Right.
It's a lot. It's a lot for someone coming from an offense that not as complex, you know what I mean? But I would say that first spring that I had there, after some time, I started to feel like I was getting it down a little bit.
Right. We'll touch on more of that as we go on, but, like, I want to understand what that first, like, day was like, because I mean you summer team camps, the Brotherhood, football, all that stuff, but then it comes July, graduate high school in May, July rolls around, it's time to check in. Kind of give me that deer in headlights kind of feel, or talk about that.
So it was like in May I had state track, and literally the next day I moved into Mizzou. So I placed at state, I did well at state or whatever, and then the next day I moved in. And I remember getting everything moved in, everything went good, and I remember Mom left, and I was just sitting on my bed like, wow, I'm in college now. I was like, I'm not going to see Mom every day or whatever, but it was a surreal moment, but I got used to it pretty quick. They keep you pretty busy, so especially when you first get there, you got a bunch of meetings and testing and whatnot, but I think that first night I was like, okay, this is real now. Like, it's actually happening.
You got to be honest. Was there any, like, was it? Did it happen?
I wanted to, but I didn't. You know what I mean? It's just, I talked to her the next day, and she was just asking how everything was going. But, no, I got used to it pretty quick, and my roommates are still my best friends to this day.
Right. Who are your roommates?
So Valen Erickson was my roommate, and then Curtis Piegler. Okay. Curtis Piegler comes to Lebanon with me probably every other weekend.
Okay. I think I've maybe seen you at the gym with him probably.
Yeah. Val actually transferred to NC State after the 23 season, but he's going to do well there. But Curtis is still there. They're still my best friends, them and Armand.
Right. But I want to touch on that at some point, kind of seeing that progression. Armand, and the thing about Armand, too, as a Mizzou fan, like, he kind of just came out of nowhere. Like, he was highly recruited, but then, like, something happened in a game or two, and then his stats and his exposure. So understanding that role and kind of being behind the scenes with him, with your friendship, had to have been pretty cool, right? Yeah, I mean, it was pretty awesome. Me and Armand had been talking even before we both decided to go to Mizzou and whatnot. But, I mean, he's a great guy, and you could just kind of tell that there was something a little bit different about Armand just from meeting him the first time and going to Mizzou and whatever. And he just got so much better each year. You know, he was everything just came natural to him. Right. He went to a good high school, Lee Summit North, and they just produced players left and right. But no, it was awesome being there on his draft night and everything, and seeing his dream come true, our dream come true. You know what I mean? And I mean, it was just awesome because he's worked his butt off for it. Right. But all right, so graduate high school, state track meet, all's going well. Very next day, you're in Columbia, dorm room, dorm life, football life. I can imagine that your diet probably changed a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I probably came in at like 285. You know, I was just got done with basketball season too, so I was a little light. But it was a lot different having like Chipotle and Texas Roadhouse and all kinds of stuff just right down the road. Because, you know, in Lebanon we don't really have all that kind of access. But yeah, it definitely changed a little bit.
Gotcha. So, that July, you're kind of getting accustomed to everything, start to feel. You talked earlier, you knew at that point, like, it's practice or bust, really. I mean, if there was opportunities to dress on Saturday, you probably did, correct? But you knew going in. And so kind of explain the grind of that redshirt season and because we'll get into it later. You talked about coaching change and adapting, but there was some positives out of that. None of it was negative, right?
Right. I kind of knew going into it that there's some things I need to work on. This triple option, you don't pass that a lot. I didn't really know. I mean, I knew I had to get better, but I didn't really have a whole lot of like expectation to travel and whatever. Because I knew. I'm like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, I should be traveling or whatever. I knew that I had to get better at some stuff, and I just kind of took that as like just an opportunity, because on scout team you're going against an SEC defense every day, and you just kind of take it one play at a time. I mean, it's a grind. Everything in college football is a grind. It's just part of the process, and I think just sitting down and being like, I just got to trust it, because everything that you work for, you're going to get. So something like that, you know what I mean? But
well, speaking of the process, so we'll kind of keep fast forward and we'll touch on lots of different things, but the process. I want to go to right now and we'll go back. But a couple weeks ago, Coach Drinkwitz was on a press conference and he mentioned your versatility and how your development. So like, let's talk about the development, because how is that working? How do you feel? What do you think made that development happen?
I would say a big part is my O-line coach, Brennan Jones. He's definitely helped me a ton with just like little things like outside zone and pass pro and stuff. I mean, a lot of it took off when he got there. I think I've just gotten better each year just by simply just doing what he asked, you know what I mean? And just listening to him and trusting his coaching and all my coaches, I think that's just part of the process, like you said, but it's just doing little things, doing more than what's expected, which I learned after the first year. You got to. And Coach Wade he tried to tell me that when I was in high school, but you get so stuck in going through the motions or whatever. But I just doing more than what's expected and keep doing what he says, and it'll all work out. And I've just gotten better each year. So
let's kind of dive in specifically to that O-line room and that group of guys. You mentioned you became friends, obviously Armand, other things, but like, what's the culture like amongst you guys in that group? I mean, that's who you see every day, and fall camp's about to start, and I'm going to see him until January, really. Yeah. But, we do everything together. Every weekend we're at somebody's house, grilling, doing something, I think in past years we've been pretty close, but I think this year, this is the closest group that I've been with. Especially being the older guy now, you kind of control everything like that. Right. And I think this year is a different kind of feel, you know what I mean? Just because I'm the older guy, I've done this is going to be my 4th year now, so I kind of know what to expect, It's just a different like, I don't know, atmosphere almost in the O-line room itself. So you mentioned too versatility, like tell me kind of break down a little bit like how you approach it if you know that, let's say that practice or that week, like you're at left tackle and like, because again, being that chess piece that coaches can use and take advantage of and say, hey, we feel like we've got a guy here that's a switchblade. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of approach each position differently, or are you able to just kind of make it one thing and then plug and play, or how does that work? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just football. You know what I mean? You just go out there and just try not to overthink everything. You know what I mean? It's just, at the end of the day, it's the same sport we've played since we were little kids. And I think center is probably the hardest one to adjust to, because of course you're snapping and you're the quarterback of the offensive line. Right. I think everything else is just little details, like tackles, you got your pass set's a lot different than guard, and then center of course is different. But I think a lot of it is mental, it's just not overthinking and just playing ball at the end of the day. When you're looking at like playbook and stuff, what was that adjustment like? I know you mentioned you have different roles, but like, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like they simplify it to what you guys are good at, right? Or not what you're good at, but what you can understand and how you do those things. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it, they do a good job of like install wise. It's not really like, I would say it's slow, because it's definitely not slow for a freshman. Like a lot of it is a lot of information.
But I mean, we've done pretty much the same stuff for a long time, and it's just a lot of it's the same stuff, just different verbiage. You know what I mean? But you get used to it after a while, and a lot of it just comes down to practice and reps and stuff like that.
Right. And you're repping, like, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, school's in session, you know, it's game season. Like, how many hours a week are you guys kind of practicing, or is it vary a little bit?
It just depends, you know, like, I know like fall camp's coming up, so we're going to be pretty busy, you know, practice a lot. And I don't know. I think once we get later in the season, it's not as bad as the beginning.
Right.
You know, it just kind of varies, like the season and like stuff like that, and like bye weeks and everything. This year we have 2 bye weeks, so it's going to be a lot different. And I'm not really sure how the schedule is going to work with everything like that.
Right. So I want to touch on that because Mizzou's schedule this year. It's a really cool schedule, very similar to last year. But I know I've heard coaches talk a little bit about they've changed some stuff up. So from your perspective, that you're not getting on a bus, you're not getting on a plane, you're not doing anything from the minute you go to Columbia, which you're going back when
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So you're going to be, you'll be in Columbia till mid-October. What's that like as a player? Give me the player's perspective.
You know, home games are always fun, especially now since they're all sold out like every week. It's awesome. But I know like the first year it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was hard to get a sellout, but it's not what it is now. You know, the culture's changed so much. But I mean, away games are always fun too, just going to different places. I mean, I remember one of my first away games was Georgia, my redshirt.
Between the hedges.
Yeah, that was awesome. But, you know, it'd be fun. I'll get to go to Auburn this year. I mean, I've been to Arkansas. I'll get to go to Oklahoma. That'll be awesome. I think a lot of it is just we have a lot of like veteran guys on our team that's traveled before and kind of know what to expect. So I think a lot of it's just getting the younger guys just to kind of, I don't know, soak it all in and take it all in, because not anything's guaranteed. So kind of something like that.
And I read somewhere I saw through Twitter or something, like even home games, you guys kind of have a little travel aspect to home games because you don't stay in Columbia or in your dorm room the night before a game, right?
We stay in Columbia. We're in a hotel in Columbia, so we're kind of, which I like that. It just kind of locks you in a little bit, and you don't have any distractions, which was different for me coming from high school to college.
Right.
But the games aren't really taken as serious in high school, but college is a really big deal, and I like the aspect of not having any distractions other than your phone.
Right. Before we go any further, though, it's Saturday morning, 11 o'clock kickoff. First song you got on your headphones, what is it?
Probably something Metallica, something like that. Something Metallica, or maybe Alice in Chains or something.
Okay.
Just
what's your favorite Alice in Chains song?
Rooster, for sure.
Okay.
But maybe One by Metallica or something. It kind of varies. Just depends on like if it's raining or whatever outside, if it's sunny or whatnot. But
Gotcha. Well, let's kind of backtrack again. Things are different in college football now than they were. What was your freshman year?
22.
Coming off COVID, everybody's kind of figuring it out. You're thrown into there. Then this portal thing is changing the landscape. Coach Drinkwitz, Mizzou is always talking about culture, talking about leading with an edge. You mentioned you had a friend transfer. We've seen national stories about Mizzou and picking up transfers. We've seen Mizzou leading the edge and in the transfer portal, all the things that are changing. Kind of from a player's perspective, what is that culture like, and how are you seeing what they're preaching come to fruition?
It's definitely a lot different than my freshman year, even with the NIL world and the portal world. I think it's evolved so much over the last couple of years, But I think Coach Drink and the staff, they do a really good job of bringing guys in that they know will kind of just, get in the locker room and do what we do every day. They keep the same characteristics, you know what I mean? Something like that. But they do a really good job of bringing guys in that have one goal in mind, and that's to win, being 1-0 every week and getting better every day. It's a lot different, and it was a little bit to adjust, especially after one of my good friends left, you know, but I understand. I mean, sometimes it's necessary and sometimes it's not. But, you know, it's a big difference. And I think it's a lot more professional now than it has ever been.
Right.
But
so as a Mizzou fans like to use the word true son, as a true son, scholarship player, you're there. Are these portal guys leaning on people like you because you know you've been there, you understand it, it's in your blood, so to speak? I mean, you knew going in that if Mizzou gave you an opportunity, you were taking advantage of it, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, you can't really beat an hour 45 from your house. You know what I mean? Especially being in the SEC, it's everything that I wanted. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of it is that they do lean on us a little bit. You know, especially like guys like Connor Tollison that's been there for a while, and he's kind of seen everything. He's been through the hard times and the good times. So I mean, which we all lean on him anyways. But I think a lot of it is that they do depend on us a little bit to lead them in the right direction, especially coming from different programs that don't have the same goals or whatever.
And they all bring in something that helps everyone, really. I know Coach Drink has talked about that, and seeing like some of these transfers that have came in with a specific perspective or a specific skill set that's not necessarily a Saturday skill set. It's that team leadership. Speaking of leaders, we can't sit down and not talk about Brady Cook. That dude balled for Mizzou. That dude live and breathe it. What was your relationship with Brady?
You know, it was good. You know, Brady's a great guy. Especially being the quarterback, he's automatically the leader. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. And I couldn't have asked for a better leader the last couple of years, you know, and just how the Auburn game turned out and everything. I mean, that's just like a true testament of like who he is. You know what I mean? And he's just the toughest guy in the field always, and he's going to do everything he can to get the win. You know, I hope everything goes well for him in the next stage or whatever, but you know, he's a great guy and he deserves everything he's getting right now.
So what was it as a player, as a leader of a team, a veteran, like you see that leadership was coming to an end, that regime, that tenure, like tell me a little bit about how that void has been filled.
You know, it's been great. Like the leadership I wouldn't say it fell off or anything. Like it's been a lot of guys have stepped up that were here. Their first year was last year, you know, like Zion Young is a guy that comes to mind. Connor, of course, he's been here. I mean, he's been the kind of the quarterback of the O-line since I've been here.
Right.
So, you know, it's been great. And I think it's not solely just one person, you know what I mean? The whole team as a whole is kind of, they know what we're about and what the goal is at the end of the day.
And it's all is that 1-0 kind of preached?
Yep,
from
1-0. Yep.
That's
every week, just trying to go 1-0.
How do you deal with that weekly? You mentioned it kind of stays the same, but I can imagine that certain teams facing SEC caliber players, guys that are going to be drafted and playing on Sundays, like, do you guys get real particular about that? Or as a player, what's it like to know you're going up against some of those guys?
Like I said before, I think it's just football at the end of the day, you know, and we've practiced so much, trained so much, you just got to rely on your training and stuff like that. You know, it just, after practicing so long in the SEC and even getting to play some, you know, it's just football at the end of the day, and you just can't overthink it. You know, you just take it play by play, and only play matters is this play.
Play. As we're in a downtime. Last year, first year, college football 25. Now we got college football 26. I don't want to ask you the canned question of what's it like to see yourself in a game, but I got to. What was that like?
I mean, it's pretty awesome. You know, it's just a game that we all played growing up and just stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of surreal now just because of the old game or whatever, but I think it's pretty cool.
Did they get your rating right?
No.
They didn't?
No.
Is it how bad? How if you had the EA folks in front of you right now, like, are you yelling or are you like just like asking questions? Like, what's going on there?
I'd say I'd ask a few questions. I wouldn't say it's terrible. You know what I mean? I can't really blame them, but I think there's a few things like my speed's too low. I'm way faster than what I am. funny.
I don't even remember what the rating was. I barely got a chance to play.
I think
this
it might
year.
have been like a 60 or something, but I know I'm faster than
You're
a 60.
faster than that. Who's the best? Who's your favorite teammate to play against on that game?
I'd probably say Curtis. You know, he can't beat me, but it's awesome to play him in the game just because we talk so much trash to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Curtis.
Are you a cheeser or are you you play it legit?
No, I play it. I play is how they should be called.
Right.
Like run the ball on first down, stuff like that.
You're not punting or you're not going for it on 4th and 15.
If it's 4th and 5, manageable 4th down, I'll go for it.
What's your rule? Because mine is like if you're up and you're on your side of the field and it's 4th and 5 or more, you should punt. Mm-hmm. That's my rule.
I feel like if I'm up more than one possession, I would go for it on 4th and 10. But if it's a tie game or something like that, you know what I mean, I'll punt it. But
gotcha.
I play pretty conservative.
I'm in a second version, a 26 version, and it's our second with a bunch of Mizzou fans. Mm-hmm. And we have a huge league. There's 32 of us, mm-hmm. and it's fun to see the level of fan and how they're interacting with the game. We obviously have side talks about projections and players and things like that, but like understanding, I'm a Mizzou fan, but I don't understand the fandom, or I didn't understand the fandom of Mizzou fans, mm-hmm. and I probably always underestimated the KU rivalry. Even though I'm a fan and I want to see Mizzou win and beat Kansas every mm-hmm. chance we can, like, what is that like as a player?
You know, I feel like it's going to be an awesome environment. You know, I have family from Kansas, so it's going to go both ways. But no, I was always more of a Mizzou fan than anything growing up, just because it's where I'm from. But I think it's going to be cool. I think being the first game being at Columbia is going to be huge, especially for Mizzou fans. But you know, Coach Drink's done a pretty good job of kind of teaching us the history of it. I didn't realize there was so much to it. Me
either. Like some of the even pre-Civil War, mm-hmm. the things that happened, and I don't even want to say what happened because I would get it wrong because I just quickly glanced. But that's where that blood boils mm-hmm. from. It's not necessarily wins or losses or basketball or football, but there is some deep hatred, mm-hmm. and I think the education that I got on it, and so seeing it come back, we saw it basketball last year, you know, just destroyed them. Yeah, I mean, it didn't even feel like they showed up, but the football, I've been a couple of times to Mizzou KU. I didn't get to go to that Arrowhead game mm-hmm. and all that, but so we've talked about all sorts of things. The fitting the pieces in the puzzle, the coaching, moving in. Now you're a veteran. You've been through a lot. Give me some of the cool things that these programs in Mizzou specifically have done to build you guys that culture and that team. Because we talked about they place in portal players mm-hmm. and all that, but how does that happen compared to high school or whatever? Because I know Coach Christian, you're mm-hmm. a big fan. We love Coach Christian. Mm-hmm. He's great for our program and these kids, and they do as much as they can. And to compare it would be the senior retreat that you guys do. Right. But let's hear about it from a college level.
I think the first thing that I would start with is business stays on the 4th floor. You know what I mean? That's where the coaches' offices are. That's where Coach Drink's office is. And then the locker room is ours. You know what I mean? Right. That's what business just needs to stay where business belongs. You know what I mean? And I think that's the first thing that can hurt a team more than anything is jealousy and talking about business in the locker room. You know what I mean? Which there's a time and place for it, but there's also a time and place for it to do it in the 4th floor. But I think that's one of the biggest things is my first year, it was way different. You know, it mm-hmm. was just complaining. We're not winning as much as we feel like we should, you know, and you know, a lot of it started with getting the right guys, you know what I mean, that the lead the right way or whatever. But I think a big part of it is just counting your blessings, you know what I mean, something like that, and just running your race essentially.
Running your race. Mm-hmm. We hear that a lot, mm-hmm. but it's so versatile mm-hmm. because it's the truth. you know, we hear about process, we hear about 1-0, but those things actually come to fruition. And I don't know that we always understand that or we see it. You know, Saban has always talked about the process, Coach talking about elite edge, things like that. It's really cool to see it because it feels, and I think as a player, and I don't want to speak for you, but that patience that Mizzou fans have had to have probably carried over. You just mentioned it, carried over into the locker room. I really didn't know the business on the fourth floor, but that's kind of a cool way to understand how the program works. You mentioned the locker room. Like, what's the locker room like? Like, what is that atmosphere like?
I would say, like, it's changed so much, even from my first to second year.
Right.
You know, just the first year was pretty, like, chaotic and a lot of different guys wanting to go a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? It was just pulling it back and forth. But now I feel like it's like everyone's got the same mindset, you know what I mean? Same goal in mind, which you got to have to win. You know what I mean? You can't have guys just wanting to do different things and not putting the team first and stuff like that. So I think that was just the biggest difference, you know? And I think now the locker room is, like, we talk about the Brotherhood all the time, and that's exactly what it is.
Wilderness Brotherhood, we still using that.
Yep.
I was at the Cotton Bowl game. That was an incredible experience.
That was one of the best pregame speeches that I've ever got.
Really?
Was the Ohio State game.
It just, what can you put into words, like, how that feels and what that is like as a player? We get to see the clips and we get to see it all, but, like,
that was it was interesting because I didn't really know how it was going to turn out. You know, I knew a lot of Mizzou fans were going to be there, but not like how it was during the game.
Was nuts,
it actually got pretty loud, and I was really impressed, honestly. I think that was kind of the start of, like, the sellout games, you know what I mean? But that atmosphere was awesome. Being in the Cowboy Stadium, everything, I was really surprised, honestly.
Right. I know one of the players in basketball talked about how they feel the crowd. Talk about that home crowd, because I could see your face. Like I know, like, you're looking forward to this year and feeling that. Like, what's that like?
So I remember the first time I ran out of the tunnel and like the fire and everything, and that was like I don't know. It was such a surreal moment, and it was like I can't even really explain it. But, like, even like the Oklahoma game last year when Zion got the touchdown, the crowd kind of popped a little bit. You know, it definitely helps, you know, having all the fans there. Like the Auburn game, like the momentum just switched, like, you know what I mean? But it's a different feeling that I didn't really get to experience until I got to Mizzou. It's
crazy how 60,000 people, 70,000 people are literally like a light switch. Like, and I've, you know, been in the fan side of it, never got to be on the field or obviously played, but, like, knowing, like, a fumble and feeling that crowd and feeling that just loudness. And you hear the ZOU, excuse me, like, you hear that and it's really cool. But then, like, you're hearing that and then a big play, and I didn't get to go to the Oklahoma game, but I can imagine what that was like. Or plays like 4th and 17 with Luther from previous year. That was I was at when we beat Texas A&M to win the East in 14 or whatever year that was. But, like, that going from light to dark or on to off, however you want to describe it, like, I can't imagine the feeling. And then is it when you guys are practicing, hanging out, like, how do you guys what do you do to make that even more possible, I guess? I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but like, you're as much as you want to pancake a guy or Brady wants to throw a touchdown or with, you know, whoever the quarterback is this year and what they want to do, but, like, there's a different feeling there. Like, you're jonesing for that that feeling, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really – it's something that can't be, like, replaced or, like, even, like, duplicated or something. It's just something that kind of happens, like, in the moment. You know, when we scored the 2-point conversion on South Carolina, we weren't home, but you felt the same feeling. Right. You know what I mean? This is like it's almost like a relief, almost, but not kind of. But I don't know. It's something that's just you can't really explain it,
right?
And you can't really prepare for it either. You know what I mean? It's just something that kind of happens. But.
Right. Friday night in high school, I remember the feeling. We've talked about it with other athletes and other players. If that was a 10 out of 10 in high school, what is it in college?
Like, it's just, you can't explain it. Like, it's not, I don't know. In Lebanon, we get good crowds, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not anything that's like below average or anything, but college is just, I can't explain it. It just gets so loud. And I mean, after a while, like after a couple seasons, you get kind of used to it and whatnot. And it's still like the crowd pops or whatever are still awesome, but It's not like the first time you run out.
It's seeing your growth, hearing the coaches, validating some things and knowing how hard you've worked, how hard the team's worked. And I mentioned it earlier, like that patience of this building this program and a new era, a relatively, I mean, he's seasoned, but a relatively new coach has done this, and seeing the players respond, seeing the community, the fans respond has been, I think, something that we took for granted maybe.
Yeah.
Because you hear the blue bloods and you know, it's expected. And my mindset of Mizzou football has changed, and it's been really cool to watch them adapt. I'm excited for you this year coming up and all the good things. Give me kind of some little bit about you that's not football related. What else are you into?
You know, usually if I have any off time, I'm doing some kind of hunting. You know, this past summer, me and my uncle from Kansas got at least some ground, went pig hunting a little bit. Okay. But we did some of that. And
have any luck?
Yeah, we killed a couple pigs, not as many as we wanted to, but kind of got like a little foundation for us and what to expect now. They're pretty interesting to kind of track what they're doing and whatever and how they move or whatnot. But if I'm not hunting, I'm probably fishing somewhere, working with Caden Brown or something here in Lebanon. But I come home a lot more than some guys get to. But I think it's good to get away sometimes. You know, like right now we're about to start and we're going to be going for a long time, and you don't really get a lot of breaks. So I think it's pretty good just to kind of relax a little bit, fish, get on the lake or something, do something other than football.
As you're growing, obviously you're probably getting more and more responsibilities on the team side of things. How are you explaining to recruits that come in? Like, are you getting that opportunity? And
yeah, I think, especially being the older guy, you know, you get a lot more opportunities to talk to recruits, and like even the younger guys get to host recruits and stuff like that. But I mean, if it just kind of comes down to, do you want to be a part of a brotherhood, and do you want to be 1-0? You know what I mean? Just you want to win or not. But I mean, a lot of it is kind of with NIL and everything. It's a little different now. So but it's still the same, but it's not in a sense. But I think a lot of it just comes down to, I think once you're around us and in the locker room, whatnot, you kind of feel like the brotherhood. You know what I mean? It's just, you kind of know that it's not your average locker room. You know what I mean?
It's I would love to be able to experience it or understand. And I think we're getting a better understanding. Social media allows us a lot more look into what happens. Like I mentioned, some of the clips and the different things. And what have you seen the biggest change since day one to now? You as a player, the team, like what are some of that things?
I would say a big part is just my maturity level and just growing up a little bit, you know, just like the locker room, just to go back on that, you know, it's a completely different culture, you know, and everyone's pushing in the same direction. And it's amazing what happens when everyone gets on the same page and you get back-to-back 10-win seasons. So,
well, I'm excited to see you kind of fit in this year, see what positions you can help the team, because it's multiple. We've talked about, there's a pretty good chance we could see you at basically every offensive line position this year, right?
I'd say more so interior wise.
Guard, center.
Yeah. I've been playing center a little bit in the spring. I played some guard, a little bit of balance, you know. I think center is probably my most comfortable position, which I kind of like being in that role, being the leader a little bit. And, you know, I think I could probably have a good future at center, you know, but I think that's probably where I would probably be most comfortable at.
Aren't you? What's life after, like, what are your plans going forward? What's your major?
I do sport management.
Okay.
So I'll probably stick around sports a little bit. You know,
Right.
I got a family farm in Kansas that I've kind of entertained the idea of going back to. I'm not really 100% sure. I'm just kind of focused on doing this right now. But when the time comes, I'm sure I'll have something to do.
Are you a fan of school or not a fan of school?
It's okay.
It's okay. It's not.
It's not football, but
It's not football.
yeah,
Right.
it's all right. I don't mind it.
All right. So we're not big fans of school, but we do it.
Yeah.
We like to hunt pigs in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Like to fish a little bit. Like to come home, Lebanon, hang out. What do you, if you had, I'm going to ask you a couple different questions to kind of wrap this up. You're a player in high school right now. Like, let's do that cheesy whole, like, how do you remember? How do you focus? Like, what would you tell senior year Tristan versus, like, how would you, I don't know. You know what I mean? I think you get what I'm saying.
I would probably say just not to worry about anything, that it's just going to work out. You know,
Right.
I think like freshman year was kind of tough just because I knew what to I didn't really know what to expect, but I kind of knew what to expect. And I think a lot of times you just get caught up like it's never going to work out. You know what I mean? It's just, you just got to trust the process, what I would say, which I did all through high school. And I don't know why it was any different in college, but
Right.
I just kind of had to remind myself.
Is 10-year-old Tristan realizing his dreams?
I would say 10-year-old Tristan had a little bit different dreams than football.
All right.
You know, I was kind of like I don't know. I didn't really wouldn't like, I love football, but I think like sophomore year is when I kind of knew I was like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
But no, I would say it would be a little different.
Right.
But
How would you pitch Mizzou to a high school player that's looking at options or sees that interest from Mizzou? How would you pitch that?
I would just kind of start with, this is a family, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is at the end of the day. And Coach Drink, that's what he preaches, you know, the brotherhood and stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of a family and win some games, then this is the place for you.
Gotcha. Well, I know Lebanon, Jacket Nation Sports, myself, sure proud of where you've been, where you're going, what you got going on. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to sit down and kind of get a little bit into the team, the culture, and kind of what goes on. So we're very grateful. You've got fans in us for as long as we're around. So, and appreciate you saying
Appreciate it.
what you said about wish this was around. Believe me, we do too. It's been really cool. We're always here if we can do anything for you. Absolutely. So sure appreciate it, man.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for checking it out. I'm Ramsey with Jacket Nation Sports. Tristan Wilson, Mizzou offensive lineman. MIZ.
ZOU.
All right, attaboy.